What if I told you one of the world's most valuable treasures doesn't come from gold mines or jewelry shops? It comes from buzzing wings, flower fields, and a little insect smaller than your pinky nail. Yep, we're talking about honey, nature's liquid gold. Every year, American beekeepers harvest a mind-blowing 139 million pounds of it. That's enough to cover billions of pancakes, sweeten millions of cups of tea, and even replace mountains of sugar. But here's the kicker: honey isn't just delicious. It's a nutritional powerhouse, loaded with antioxidants, enzymes, and natural healing properties that humans have treasured for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians used it in medicine. Greek athletes swore by it. And today, we pour it into smoothies, teas, baked goods, and even skincare. But how exactly do we go from buzzing bees in flower fields to perfectly sealed bottles sitting neatly on your grocery store shelf? That journey is not only fascinating, it's a mix of hard bee work, skilled beekeepers, modern machines, and some surprising secrets you'd never expect. So join FactoryX as we dive in and follow honey's incredible journey, from the hive to the factory to your table. The little workers. Meet the honeybee, nature's tiniest but toughest worker. With delicate wings that flap 200 times per second, these little warriors fly up to 15 miles per hour and can visit 2,000 flowers a day. Think about that. A single teaspoon of honey takes the lifetime work of about 12 bees. A full jar? That's thousands of flights, millions of flower visits, and hours of buzzing teamwork. But honey production isn't their only gig. Bees are responsible for pollinating crops that keep our food supply alive. In fact, their pollination work adds more than $175 million to the U.S. economy every year. Without them, our grocery stores would look shockingly empty. Now, when the time is right, beekeepers step in to harvest. But here's the tricky part. How do you take honey from thousands of bees without causing chaos? The answer is smoke. But not harmful smoke. It's a gentle puff from burning wood or bark. This natural smoke makes the bees calm, almost like hitting the pause button on their instincts. With the bees relaxed, beekeepers carefully pull out honey-filled frames, shimmering like sheets of liquid gold. Using soft brushes, they gently sweep away the bees. No harm done. And here's the key: they never take it all. Enough honey is always left behind for the colony to survive the winter. The harvest. Once the frames are removed from the hive, the real challenge begins: transporting nature's liquid gold without losing a single drop of its flavor, freshness, or nutrients. This step may sound simple, but it's actually one of the most critical stages in the entire honey-making journey. First, beekeepers carefully load the frames, still heavy with capped honeycomb, into protective boxes. These aren't ordinary boxes. They're designed to prevent contamination, keep the combs intact, and protect honey from outside pests or dirt. Even during this stage, every precaution is taken because honey is incredibly sensitive to temperature, moisture, and even vibrations. One bump too hard and combs can crack, spilling sticky sweetness everywhere. For short distances, trucks are used, but for larger operations, especially when honey needs to reach distant processing plants quickly, it actually takes to the skies. That's right, cargo planes full of honey soar thousands of feet above the ground, flying over mountains, rivers, and states to deliver fresh barrels of sweetness. This high-speed transport is like a protective shield, reducing the risks of heat waves, storms, or long delays that could compromise honey's quality. Imagine tons of golden nectar gliding above the clouds, destined for jars in kitchens around the world. But why all this effort? Because honey, unlike many processed foods, is delicate. Its natural enzymes, aroma, and healing properties can break down if exposed to extreme temperatures or stored carelessly. By moving it quickly and carefully, beekeepers ensure what arrives at the factory is just as pure and flavorful as the day the bees made it. And here's something fascinating: this entire stage still depends heavily on human judgment. Machines might help with transport, but only skilled beekeepers can decide when honey is ready to be harvested. Too early, and the honey hasn't thickened, it'll ferment and spoil. Too late, and it may lose some of its natural vibrancy. That perfect sweet spot? Only years of experience can tell. For most beekeepers, harvesting isn't about taking, it's about balancing. They make sure to leave plenty of honey behind, especially as winter approaches. After all, bees don't make honey for us, they make it for themselves. What we enjoy is actually their survival stash, carefully shared in a way that still lets the colony thrive. So when those golden frames finally leave the farm, They're not just cargo. They're the result of trust between human and insect, science and instinct, patience and precision. From here, honey's transformation is about to get even sweeter. Before we continue this journey, quick pause. If you're enjoying this sweet adventure, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. We've got so many more behind-the-scenes food stories coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Honey processing begins. Once the honey-rich frames arrive at the processing facility, the golden liquid is treated almost like royalty. It's not just dropped off and forgotten. Every single step from here is carefully designed to protect its natural aroma, nutrients, and sweetness. Think of this stage as the fine art of preserving nature's masterpiece. The very first stop is temperature-controlled storage. Why? Because honey straight from the hive is thick, sticky, and doesn't flow easily. To make it workable, processors gently warm it. But here's the secret. It's done at a very precise temperature, usually between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius. Just warm enough to soften the honey so it moves like silk, but never hot enough to damage the enzymes, antioxidants, or delicate flavors that make honey so special. It's the difference between crafting a gourmet product and ruining it. From there, the honeycomb frames head into a process called uncapping. Remember those thin wax seals bees place over each cell? That wax is basically a natural lid, locking in freshness. To release the honey, those caps need to come off. Enter the wax removal machine. Imagine sleek, high-speed blades gliding over the honeycomb like razors over glass. They slice away just the wax layer, nothing more, revealing the shimmering golden honey beneath. And here's something fascinating. None of that wax goes to waste. In fact, beeswax is so valuable that it's often repurposed into candles, cosmetics, wood polish, and even brand new honeycomb sheets that beekeepers place back into hives. This is nature's cycle at its finest. Nothing wasted, everything reused. But honey isn't just about efficiency, it's about flavor and integrity. This is why factories operate under strict conditions, making sure air quality, moisture levels, and even vibrations are controlled. Honey is alive in many ways. It absorbs odors, moisture, and changes quickly if mishandled. Imagine a sweet floral honey suddenly tasting like garlic just because it was stored near the wrong product. That's why facilities treat honey like liquid treasure. The uncapped honeycomb is then carefully stacked and prepared for the next big stage, extraction. This is the magical moment when golden nectar leaves the comb and pours freely for the first time. And trust me, you won't believe how it's done. Liquid gold extraction. Now comes the moment every beekeeper looks forward to, the moment when golden honey finally leaves the comb. And the method used to do it. Pure genius. The uncapped honeycomb frames are carefully placed inside a machine called a centrifuge. Imagine a giant spinning drum, almost like a washing machine, but instead of cleaning clothes, it's pulling honey out of the combs with the raw power of physics. Here's how it works. When the machine begins to spin at high speeds, it creates centrifugal force. This force pushes the honey outward, flinging it away from the comb walls. Within minutes, thick streams of golden liquid begin flowing down the sides of the drum, pooling into containers below. It's fast, efficient, and most importantly, it doesn't damage the honeycomb itself. And that's a big deal. Because when the combs stay intact, they can be given back to the bees for reuse. Think of it like recycling, but on nature's terms. Bees save precious time and energy since they don't need to rebuild everything from scratch, and beekeepers save resources. It's a win-win. Now, fresh out of the centrifuge, honey isn't quite ready for your toast yet. It's raw, thick, and often full of tiny particles. We're talking flecks of wax, traces of pollen, maybe even a few bits of dust. Perfectly natural, but not what you'd want in your morning tea. So the honey flows straight into the filtration system. This step is all about refinement, removing anything that doesn't belong while keeping all the nutrients intact. Special filters catch even the tiniest wax particles, ensuring that what's left behind is pure, clear, and smooth. The difference is stunning: cloudy, chunky honey on one side and crystal clear golden nectar on the other. But even then, the job isn't done. Honey varies depending on the flowers the bees visited. Clover honey tastes different from orange blossom honey, which tastes different from wildflower honey. To make sure every bottle you buy is consistent, the honey is transferred into massive stainless steel tanks where it's gently stirred. This blending ensures that flavor, color, and texture are uniform, so your honey tastes the same every time you pop open a jar. And here's the part most people don't realize. All of this, the centrifuge, the filtration, the blending, is done with one main rule in mind: protect the honey's integrity. Because real honey isn't just sugar. It's alive with enzymes, antioxidants, and natural compounds that give it its famous health benefits. Lose those, and you've lost the magic. Now that the honey is smooth, clear, and uniform, it's time for its final transformation. Bottling the sweetness. The final stage is bottling, and here's where modern machines take over. Automatic filling systems measure every drop with pinpoint accuracy. No spills, no waste, just precision. Hundreds of bottles can be filled every minute, each one sealed tightly with caps to protect from air and contamination. Then comes the label, honey's identity card. It tells you where it came from, its grade, and sometimes even the floral source. Once labeled, bottles are neatly packed into boxes, stacked on pallets, and shipped around the globe. From a tiny flower field, honey is now ready to sweeten breakfast, desserts, teas, and recipes worldwide. But here's the twist. Honey isn't the only superstar inside a hive. There's another product, rarer, richer, and even more valuable. And it's called royal jelly. The royal secret. Royal jelly isn't honey, it's something entirely different. This thick, creamy substance is made by worker bees and reserved exclusively for one special bee, the queen. The queen bee's diet of royal jelly is what makes her so powerful. While regular worker bees live a few weeks, the queen can live up to 5 years. And she lays thousands of eggs every single day, ensuring the colony survives. But here's the mind-blowing part. Royal jelly isn't produced by the queen. It's actually secreted by worker bees, who feed it to young larvae and the queen herself. Farmers step in by carefully guiding colonies to produce more royal jelly using artificial hives and cup cells. Worker bees are tricked into thinking they're raising new queens, so they pour their energy into producing more of this rare substance. Harvesting royal jelly is delicate. It's collected within just 3 days when it's at peak nutrition. Wait too long, and the larvae start developing into queens, and the jelly changes. Timing, again, is everything. From hive to lab. Once harvested, royal jelly is carefully preserved. Why? Because it's extremely sensitive to heat and light. Left out too long, it spoils. So beekeepers store it in dark jars, under refrigeration, sometimes even freezing it to extend its shelf life up to 2 years. At the factory, royal jelly undergoes strict quality tests. Experts check for purity, protein content, and nutrients. It's filtered to remove even the tiniest debris, sometimes pasteurized at very low heat to kill bacteria while preserving its delicate compounds. Finally, it's packaged in airtight containers, or even turned into tablets and capsules. This way, royal jelly can reach global markets as a high-end dietary supplement. From the hive to the factory to the shelves, royal jelly's journey is just as incredible as honey's, but far rarer. Nature's sweet legacy. So the next time you drizzle honey over pancakes or stir it into tea, remember, what's in your spoon isn't just food. It's the result of millions of tiny winged beets, thousands of flowers, and the dedication of beekeepers who protect one of nature's greatest treasures. Honey isn't just sugar. It's a story of survival, teamwork, and nature's brilliance. From the bees who make it, to the hands that harvest it, to the factories that preserve it, it's truly liquid gold. And when you see royal jelly on a shelf, now you know the incredible effort behind that tiny jar. A food fit for queens, born from the dedication of worker bees. Nature's sweet miracle, shared with the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into honey's journey, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next behind the scenes. Look at how your favorite foods are made. And let us know in the comments, do you prefer honey in your tea, on toast, or straight from the spoon? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.